Thank you, Rabbi, cantor, staff, and volunteers for your extraordinary planning and execution efforts to make this year's services both personally relevant and halakhically appropriate. Good Yontif. I'm imagining myself standing behind the lectern, 6 feet to the right of the bima where we read Torah. Should I go further and imagine that the wildfires are over and the pandemic has run its course, and that we've found some way to achieve peace across our troubled society, and imagine removal of all the distractions that draw our minds away from this sacred time? Should I imagine us together under the sukkah in the parking lot in a couple weeks? You're welcome to imagine us there, too, if it brings you a moment's comfort. Don't stay there more than a moment, though. We have work to do. Despite the multiple cliched challenges of this year, we've managed to accomplish a great deal. We're doing more than surviving all of this chaos. We're thriving through it. In the briefest possible terms, we're still moving forward. Life cycle events continue with support from the Sherry Torah community at every phase. Services continue to stream on Sabbath and holidays, albeit with significant changes, reaching additional people who could not historically join us in person. Minyan continues to meet Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, as well as evenings when somebody needs to say Kaddish, and again, with faces of both our regulars and people who rarely or never came before. Religious school continues in an online format, guided by our new education director, Dr. Sharon Polin. The building and cemetery grounds continue to be professionally maintained. The board of directors and our committees still meet via Zoom. Our tenant, Pitster Prep's operations have resumed and recently expanded. Our ad hoc committee to reopen the shul has planned a staged return to normal operations once the state and local health authorities have agreed that it is safe. We still have our lovely building, but we're not able to use it very well during this phase of our community's reopening, so we're doing what we can to minimize the building's expense by turning off lighting and HVAC in most zones. We've installed new security lighting around our building, and a perimeter fence will soon be built, both paid for by a grant from the Federal Emergency Management Administration. Events are happening online. I urge you to take a moment to reread the weekly bulletin to see all the wonders that our staff and clergy have planned. Our office staff are doing the business of the shul in fewer hours per week and working remotely more often. As you would expect, I must ask you to consider your role in developing the shul. As always, we need both your money and your effort. Either one can be painful in difficult times, but I really hope you can help us in both ways. With regard to money, at our annual meeting, the Finance Committee presented the congregation with a tentative and conservative budget with a statement that despite all of the budget and programming cuts that have been made, we might still need to cut even deeper. You'll be happy to know that we are meeting our budget goals and we will continue to operate Bezrat Hashem, that is, with Hashem's help and with yours. There are 4 categories of funds that keep our synagogue running: membership dues, programming, miscellaneous donations, and the Yom Kippur appeal. Membership dues provide a small portion of our operating budget. Many of us pay in installments throughout the year, which keeps the cash flow steady. Programming revenue this year has been greatly curtailed, but in the same way, programming expenses have been significantly decreased. We haven't been able to gather for so many of the activities that we enjoy sharing on an annual basis. Your donations to commemorate occasions or to fund specific projects compose a large portion of our operating funds. Please keep these donations coming. Finally, the Yom Kippur appeal, the largest revenue category on our shul's balance sheet. If you have not contributed to the Yom Kippur appeal, there is still time to do so right after the Chag. I urge everyone to dig deeply and contribute generously to this campaign. If you missed donating to the Yom Kippur appeal last year, your contribution this year will be matched by generous donors up to $15,000. Every bit as important as your financial contribution is your thoughtful time. We have several really important projects to implement this year that all of our competent and professional staff, our clergy, and our board of directors simply cannot facilitate without your input. Our shul cannot run itself without committees, and many of them need at least 1 or 2 additional members to achieve their mission. If you're ready to help, please let me or Jemmy know. We have a new rabbinical search committee forming that needs both your opinions and your active participation. As you've heard, Rabbi Rose will be retiring from his work as a congregational rabbi this year. We've started working with the Rabbinical Assembly and the United Synagogues of Conservative Judaism to find the next great rabbi for our congregation. Soon after the high holidays, we will send out a survey to the congregation. We need to hear from absolutely everyone if we're to find the right rabbi. The results of the survey will be quickly compiled into a profile document that will attract qualified rabbinical candidates to consider our congregation as the next phase of their professional career. We haven't searched for a new rabbi in years, and it sounds complicated, but we have been given a well-proven, straightforward procedure to guide us. I expect this process will help us find a rabbi to lead and serve our community for years to come. The committee will also screen and interview candidates and present them to the congregation for consideration. That lectern I imagined has been standing 6 feet to the right of the bima since long before that distance had any social significance. Its memory brought me some comfort tonight. I found the external events of this year to be a constant distraction from my inner life and professional progress. They've also distracted me from accomplishing much of the requisite work to enhance this synagogue's operation. Fortunately, synagogue operations have not been my exclusive responsibility. Our board, clergy, and staff have contributed immeasurably to ensuring the stable operation of our shul. Along with your help and that of the Almighty, we can amplify this good work into the future. Gmar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed for goodness.